What is going on, guys? This is your boy Infamous coming back at you again with another YouTube video. Today we're rocking a part two, bro. So this is gonna be part two to 6 disturbing unsolved cases with video footage. Okay, so last one we talked about was this girl Alyssa who went missing, I believe. So next up, where's Amy? This is a scary looking dude, bro. Holy shit.
Same message I've always tried to give it.
Which is?
I love her.
Oh, you love her?
You want her to come home?
You love her?
Obviously so.
The holiday of a lifetime. A Caribbean
Anybody buying
cruise,
that?
warm
Anybody buying that?
beaches, and the endless blue of the open
This is the
sea.
shittiest
Amy
fucking
Lynn
quality.
Bradley, a 23-year-old recent college graduate from Virginia, was thrilled about the
Yo,
trip.
shout out VA.
Traveling with her family, she boarded the Royal Caribbean cruise ship Rhapsody of the Seas on March 21st, 1998. Amy was excited, but also a little bit nervous. Friends and family said she wasn't exactly the cruise type. Amy was athletic, outgoing, and independent, but she had a fear of
Is this a
open
Carnival
water,
commercial from
which
like
made the cruise ship
the 40s?
a bit of a leap outside her comfort zone. The night of March 23rd should have been just like any other night on the cruise ship. The family enjoyed dinner, and Amy later went to a nightclub on the ship with her brother
Oh, this is
Brad.
Amy right
The
here.
siblings had a fun night, dancing and chatting
What
with
is
the
she
other
doing?
passengers. And in a video taken that
She
night,
okay?
Amy looked happy and carefree. Around 3:30
Okay,
a.m.,
I
Brad
guess that's
left
happy
the
and
club
carefree.
to go to bed, and Amy told him she'd be right behind him. This was the last
Wait, who went to bed?
taken that night. Amy looked happy and carefree. Around 3:30 a.m., Brad left the club to go to bed, and Amy told him she'd be right behind him.
Wait,
This
who the fuck is
was
Brad?
last confirmed sighting of Amy by her family. Early next morning, things took
Her
a
brother?
shocking turn. Around 5:30 a.m., Amy's father, Ron Bradley, woke up in their shared cabin. He noticed that Amy wasn't in her bed, which immediately set off the alarms in his head. It was strange for Amy to be up that early, especially since they'd been out late the night before. Ron initially assumed she might have gone up to the deck to watch the sunrise, and he figured she'd be back soon. But as the minutes passed and Amy didn't return, Ron's concern grew. He searched around the ship looking for any sign of his daughter as he checked the common areas, the decks, and even went to the ship's dining area, but there was no trace of Amy. Feeling increasingly desperate, he woke up the rest of the family. They searched for her together, hoping to find her asleep somewhere else or chatting with a friend, but Amy was nowhere to be found.
Damn.
By 6 a.m., the family reported Amy's disappearance to the ship's crew. At first, the crew didn't seem as worried as the Bradleys were. They suggested that maybe Amy
probably
had
on the
gone for a
ship.
swim, fallen asleep somewhere, or even gone ashore on her own during an early port stop. However, Amy's family knew she wouldn't have just wandered off without telling them. They insisted that something was wrong and pushed for a more thorough search of the ship. The search of the Rhapsody of the Seas was extensive, but it wasn't fast. Crew members scanned every deck, every room, every public area for any sign of Amy. Still, nothing turned up. By midday, the captain made an official announcement alerting all passengers to Amy's disappearance and asking for any
Why didn't we start with that? Why didn't we just say, hey, Amy, where are you at? Come fucking to the dining room or something.
information. But despite everyone's efforts, it was if she had just vanished into thin air. Amy's
That's not her
family
brother.
then tried to convince the captain to stop the boat until Amy had been found, as if the worst case scenario had happened and she had been kidnapped. She could then be smuggled off the ship when they'd eventually reached the port. The captain ignored their pleas and continued to drive the boat, allowing everyone off the ship. For the Bradley family, the idea that Amy might have gone overboard was unbearable. She was a strong swimmer and wouldn't have been careless around on the water. Plus, Amy had left behind her shoes and her identification in her cabin, which raised even more questions. Could she have met someone who persuaded her to leave her cabin, or had she encountered someone with darker intentions? Well, Amy's family, desperate for answers, recalled several strange interactions she had with crew members
$260K to
during
find-
the trip.
bro.
A few days
I'll
before
find
she
her.
vanished, Amy mentioned feeling uncomfortable around some of the crew. According to her family, she felt watched. One particular crew member
washed?
had approached her
Damn.
several times, showing an unusual amount of interest in her. He reportedly invited her to go dancing at the club off the ship, which she turned down. Then, her family noticed something very worrying. On board the ship, there was an area where photos of passengers were displayed, pictures taken by the ship's photographers, available for families to view and buy. But something was wrong. All the photos featuring Amy had vanished. Her family
What?
couldn't help but wonder, had someone intentionally removed her pictures? If so, who would do such a thing, and why. And as time passed, some people have claimed to have seen Amy, fueling the theories that she might still be alive. Several witnesses came forward saying that they had seen a woman matching Amy's description in the Caribbean. These sightings included accounts from a sailor and tourist who saw a woman resembling Amy with men who seemed to control her. In one case, a Canadian tourist reported seeing a woman in a brothel in Barbados. The woman allegedly begged for help, saying she was in fact Amy and was not allowed to leave. These sightings gave Amy's family hope, but all of them led to dead ends when followed up by authorities. No concrete evidence was found, and the woman in the sightings was never confirmed to be Amy. The descriptions were often vague.
Did we help her though? What's up, Eminem? Did we help her though?
Some sightings happened in chaotic settings.
Oh, you're not Amy.
Still,
whatever.
For the Bradleys, each new sighting brought a glimmer of hope, which is also connected to perhaps the most disturbing theory of all, being that Amy had been abducted and sold into human trafficking. The idea was bolstered years later when a chilling piece of evidence emerged as a photo of a woman resembling Amy was found on an adult website. The woman in the photo had a similar tattoo to Amy, and her appearance is undeniably similar, considering that she would
her nose is a little further up than Amy's. Her eyebrows, I mean, maybe her eyebrows grew out. I don't know. And Amy, they could have dyed her hair. I don't know.
Amy's parents saw the photo and
who are these people, bro? We can't see y'all.
Were convinced it was
Skype.
her. They believed the image was proof that Amy was alive, trapped in a terrifying situation from which she couldn't escape. Investigators found evidence of human trafficking rings operating within the Caribbean, and a young woman like Amy traveling alone.
Yeah, if y'all going to the Caribbean or fucking Mexico or fucking, I don't know, if y'all go on a cruise and you get off on the fucking what's it called, bro? On a port, bro, please stay in a group, stay together. Because them niggas will kidnap you. I'm not trolling. People go missing all the time.
Could have been a target. Her family began to suspect that if someone had lured her, they might have forced her off the ship in one of the island ports and into a dark underground network. Either way, until this day, Amy Lynn Bradley is still missing 26 years later.
Damn.
Kenny Veach was no ordinary hiker.
Where
Kenny
are
was
we?
the kind of person who thrived on adventure.
Beer and
He
a
had been
gun,
hiking
man.
for years, tackling some of the hardest trails in the southwest United States. Friends described him as fearless and intensely curious, which
Fierce.
perhaps is what
For sure,
eventually
too.
led to his unfortunate end. He documented one of his hikes on YouTube, where he
Yo,
gained
what
a small viewer
The fuck is Uzi doing out here, bro?
base, has became captivated by his discoveries, eagerly awaiting another upload. And for Kenny, their excitement seemed to fuel his own. Despite the dangers, Kenny found a sense of freedom in these remote places, but he also knew the risks. A simple slip on a rock, a broken bone, or getting lost without cell reception could mean life or death. Yet Kenny believed the rewards were worth the risk. Kenny once shared that he had a habit of exploring alone, even when people warned him against it. Hiking alone,
I just watched a video about people exploring abandoned buildings, and 99% and fucking, I think it was like 6 of them, and 5 of them were alone. 4 or 5 of them were just straight up alone, walking around in fucking abandoned buildings by themselves, bro. Like with homeless people, squatters, meth heads, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that in there.
in a desert like the Mojave.
My thing is, why are y'all going by?
Was not something
Right,
that
right.
most would consider, but Kenny saw it differently. He believed that hiking alone sharpened his senses and it forced him to be more aware of his surroundings. Without the distractions of company, he could listen to the desert and focus on the details he might otherwise overlook.
The
His
details.
viewers, and also he probably knew, that each time he went out there alone,
took
he was
this?
taking a chance. But it was a chance he seemed willing to take again and again. But there was one discovery that would change everything. It wasn't just another rocky canyon or long abandoned mine, it was something different.
And I'm looking for a cave that I found, and I didn't have a sidearm when I was here before, and something about that cave just spooked me. Out of all the caves I've ever gone in, this one just made my body vibrate. The closer I got to it, the crazier my body felt, and I was like, all right, I'm not gonna go in there right now, but I'm coming back someday.
Survivability.
So hopefully I'll find it. It's shaped like a big M. It's a big cave that looks just like a gigantic M, and it's about as tall as I am and kind of narrow. and it's stuck on the side of a mountain. So I hope I can find it again.
His viewers began to speculate about what might have caused such a strange
that a
reaction.
rattlesnake, my
Some
guy?
thought it was natural, maybe an
You're
odd
showing a
geological
rattlesnake?
feature, or maybe a minor earthquake. And obviously others immediately believed there was something more mysterious at play, like secret military experiments or something supernatural. Kenny read through all the comments, and it was clear that the mystery of the M-shaped cave had captured the minds of many. People were sending him messages, pushing him to return to the desert and explore the cave. It wasn't like him just to back down from a challenge, and the encouragement from his viewers made it harder for him to ignore the mystery. But he was also cautious.
They're
He knew
telling
that
you to
returning
not
to
get
such
in
a
there.
remote location was risky, especially with the strange sensation he had felt. Was
What are you
it
talking
really
about?
worth the danger?
What could bro
Despite
possibly be talking about here, bro?
encouragement from his viewers made it harder for him to ignore the mystery.
Find that cave entrance, don't go in. If you do, you won't get out.
But he was also
Like, what could he possibly be talking about here, bro?
cautious. He knew that returning to such a remote location was risky, especially with the strange sensation he had felt. Was it really worth the danger? Despite the fear of the unknown, Kenny decided he couldn't let this mystery go. He wanted answers just as much as his audience did, maybe even more. And soon, he announced his plans to go back, determined to find out once and for all what was inside that cave. Kenny prepared carefully for this trip, aware of the dangers that awaited him in the desert. Even for an experienced hiker like him, the Mojave held countless risks. This wasn't just a quick day hike. The remote location of the cave meant that he'd have to navigate miles of rugged terrain with limited supplies and no phone reception.
That's a
In
nice
case
view.
anything went wrong, Kenny let his girlfriend and a few close friends know where he'd be heading. This way they'd have an idea of his location if he didn't come back. Then, days passed, and no one heard from Kenny. At first, his friends and family
Kenward.
assumed he was still exploring, caught up
Oh
in the
my God. They
thrill of adventure. But as more time went by, their worry grew. Kenny's girlfriend reported him missing, and a search operation was launched as teams of rescue workers scoured the Mojave Desert, covering every trail and checking every canyon. They looked for signs of his presence, hoping to find any clue about where he might have gone. During the search, they discovered Kenny's phone lying on the ground near an abandoned mine shaft. This was miles from any marked trail and deep within the desert. The phone
How did
had
they
no
find that?
interesting messages, no final recordings, no indication of what might have happened to him. It was as if he had left it on purpose or had dropped it by accident before going
What is he
further
doing?
into the wilderness. I mean, why would he leave it behind? Despite extensive search efforts, no other trace of Kenny was ever found. The team searched for weeks, covering the surrounding area and examining any possible routes he might have taken. But the desert is vast, and its rocky, uneven terrain makes it difficult to find someone, especially in the remote areas where Kenny was known to explore. With no further evidence and no sign of Kenny, the search was eventually called off, leaving his friends, family, and YouTube viewers with more questions than answers. The M-shaped cave quickly became the focal point of every theory as to what might have happened, as the cave itself was never located either. People have
Exactly. I
found
didn't
caves
even-
that could
he
be
didn't
the
show it.
M-shaped one, but nothing solid, and no one has ever experienced the same intense vibrations Kenny did. The mystery surrounding Kenny has built up a sort of community of amateur investigators and internet detectives. One of their many, many theories involves Kenny's sister Debbie Veach. Now, Debbie runs a little
Debbie do?
Reiki studio and shop, and in 2018 it was burgled. A man
Wait, hold on.
on
What
many,
does she run?
many theories involves Kenny's sister Debbie Veach. Now, Debbie runs a little Reiki studio and shop, and in
What is that?
2018 it was
Reiki.
burgled. A man unidentified broke in through a glass window with a crowbar, stealing.
Hello?
Now, Debbie runs
Hello?
a little Reiki studio and
The
shop,
nigga's not
and in
wearing a
2018,
mask.
It was burgled. A
hello?
man unidentified broke in
identified. Okay, well,
through a glass
Never mind,
window
never
with
mind.
a crowbar, stealing an iPad and other
He's
small
looking right at the
items.
camera.
Many people who like investigating the mystery of Kenny are absolutely convinced that this was him based off of the security footage. Debbie has never even implied it's Kenny, but still, people are clearly desperate to find out what happened to him. To this day, Kenny's case
so y'all think
remains
Kenny came back from being gone for however long just to rob his sister's iPad? That's what y'all thought? Okay, cool. Just making
Unsolved.
sure. Just make sure we're all on the same page.
Relisha Rudd was only
The
8
doctor,
years
DVD?
old when she disappeared from Washington, D.C., leaving a trail of unanswered questions and unsettling mysteries behind. Born on October 29th, 2005, Relisha lived a far from easy life. Relisha's family struggled financially, and she spent most of her early years moving between unstable housing situations. Relisha and her family eventually found a place to stay at a shelter known as the General Family Shelter. While it provided a roof over their heads, it was a difficult environment for any child. The shelter housed hundreds of families and individuals experiencing homelessness, and the facility was crowded and sometimes chaotic. For Relisha, the shelter was both her home and her playground, though it was far from the safe, nurturing environment that every child deserves. Despite these hardships, Relisha's teachers and people who knew her described her as friendly and full of curiosity. They noted how she loved school and seemed to be happy there, finding some sense of stability and normalcy in the classroom. Her teacher noticed, though, that her attendance was irregular. Days turned into weeks, and when Relisha stopped coming to school altogether, people started to worry. At first, no one knew what to think. Relisha's absence was unusual, but not completely shocking. Living in the shelter meant that her life was unpredictable, and unfortunately, it wasn't uncommon for children in similar situations to miss days of school.
Damn,
School
she hitting that
officials
shit.
made phone calls and reached out to her family when her mother, Shamika Young, was contacted.
I was
She
gonna say,
claimed that
that's the
Relisha was
parents.
in the care of a doctor and was being treated for a health issue. She even provided the name of the doctor, Dr. Tatum. Relieved, the school trusted Shamika's explanation and didn't press her any further. They had no reason to doubt her words, but this decision would soon reveal its terrifying consequences. It was the 1st of March 2014 when the authorities were finally contacted. School officials decided to look into Relisha's absence once more and discovered something that made them uneasy. The Dr. Tatum that Relisha's mother had referred to wasn't a doctor at all. He was Khalil Tatum, a janitor at the shelter where Relisha's family lived. The unexpected twist raised alarm bells for everyone involved. Though Khalil wasn't just a stranger to Relisha's family, he was someone who had developed a close, almost unsettling relationship with her. Shelter staff and other families noticed how Tatum spent time with Relisha, buying her gifts, taking her on outings, and providing her with things that perhaps her family couldn't afford. People close to the family obviously saw these gestures as unusual, but no one could have guessed what would come next. Tatum had an extensive criminal history that included burglary and larceny. He was hired despite concerns raised by some about the shelter's lack of proper background checks. The shelter's staffing shortage and high demand for support made it difficult to screen employees thoroughly. Tatum's role brought him into frequent contact with Relisha and her family, and he gradually became a trusted figure in their lives. Relisha's mother, Shamika, accepted these gestures, even allowing Relisha to spend unsupervised time with him. Once police began investigating, they uncovered disturbing details about Tatum's behavior. Surveillance footage later revealed that Tatum had taken Relisha to a Holiday Inn Express in northeast Washington on March 1st, making it the last known sighting of the young girl. Tatum's actions following that day became even more suspicious. He was spotted purchasing a shovel, lime, a chemical that can be used to stop the smell of a rotting corpse, as well as large trash bags, items that suggested he might have intended to cover up a crime. Then, something very unexpected happened. As the investigation intensified, authorities discovered that Khalil Tatum's wife, Andrea, was found dead in a hotel room from a gunshot wound. This development only deepened the urgency of the search for Relisha, and it became clear that Dr. Tatum was even more dangerous than the police thought. Law enforcement began a nationwide search for Tatum. Meanwhile, the behavior of Relisha's mother, Shamika, was starting to make less and less sense. When the school first notified Shamika that Relisha wasn't attending anymore, Shamika did not immediately notify the police or the shelter staff, a delay that severely impacted the investigation, and Shamika's general response was slow and at times evasive. When asked by the police and child welfare authorities about her daughter's last known whereabouts, she provided limited information, and her answers often lacked urgency. It could be possible that Shamika might have feared getting into trouble herself, as she was aware of Tatum's involvement with her daughter and the potential legal implications of neglect. fact. Authorities
Exactly,
investigating
bro.
the
Like,
case
what?
became increasingly frustrated with Shamika's lack of cooperation. Although she eventually acknowledged that Tatum had been taking care of Relisha, she continued to give inconsistent statements about why she allowed her daughter to spend so much time with him.
So that's
Her
the real question,
explanations
man.
were often contradictory, shifting between trusting Tatum as a caring figure and being unaware of the danger her daughter faced. Shamika's behavior either suggested a stupidly high level of trust in a stranger or a complete failure to recognize the risks associated with allowing her daughter to be in Tatum's care. And on April 1st, 2014, likely the worst case scenario had happened. Khalil Tatum was found to have taken his own life in a shed in Kenilworth Park, which was an area that had already been searched for Relisha. Tatum was the last person seen with Relisha, so when he died, he took many of the answers with him.
Damn.
His death left police scrambling for leads, but despite searches and tips, now they weren't even certain if Relisha was alive, alone, or had been given to someone else. Purely speculating, I think it's possible that Tatum may have had a less than legal relationship with Relisha and may have been
For sure.
exploiting her with Shamika's permission. Perhaps Tatum's wife Andrea found out, and that was the motive behind her unfortunate death, though the true motive behind Relisha Rudd's disappearance will likely never be known. And that concludes today's
that's
video.
crazy, bro. That's crazy. That one's sad as fuck. That one was sad as fuck. But yeah, I love y'all. I'm gonna see y'all. Holler at your motherfucking boy, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. And if you didn't, still leave a like and make your boy infamous. Y'all like it? Peace.